Alright, so, real quick, this is Mr. Monroe. I'm making these videos so that way y'all can hopefully continue learning about geometry. I'm going to try to make these videos until at least there's someone else in that position that can help you out, and even then I may still continue with these videos because I know that some of you may have been struggling in the past, and I just want you to have the best opportunity as possible. So with that being stated, okay, our next unit that y'all are going to talk about is, y'all started on Friday last week, or you're supposed to. It's about triangles, all right? So y'all should have already gone over acute triangles, right triangles, obtuse triangles, isosceles, equilateral, and scalene. Okay, but real quick, we're going to talk about mid-segments of a triangle. Okay, so a mid-segment of a triangle is a segment that is formed from two midpoints. Alright, so right here in this picture, okay, this point right here and this point right here are midpoints. Okay, well, that means that this segment and this segment are congruent, this segment and this segment are congruent. Okay, this dotted line represents the mid-segment. Now, there's a few things to note about mid-segments. Okay, a mid-segment is half the length of the side it does not intersect okay, and is parallel to that side. Alright, so if we're looking at this, if we are told either the third side or this mid-segment right here, that means that we could find the other one that we're not given. So if this is 10 centimeters, alright, if the mid-segment is 10 centimeters, that means that the third side is 20 centimeters. Alright? Okay? And that seems pretty easy, right? If we pretend like this point right here, so that's going to be this whole length down here. If we pretend that this point right here is also a midpoint, okay, we can create, okay, two more mid-segments. And some of you are like, oh, this kind of looks like the Triforce from Zelda. You are correct. If it was an equilateral triangle, it would actually make that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a video game thing. Just move on. So that means that this half is equal to this half. Alright? Now, another thing that we can do with this, if we had x's, okay, if we had in terms of x, alright, so let's say that this is x plus 4, and the whole length over here is 3x plus 8. Alright, what we would do to solve for x, alright, is we would take our small part, our mid-segment, multiply it by 2, and then set it equal to this. So that's what I'm going to write out right here. So I'm going to do 2, and then I'm going to put parentheses times x plus 4 equals 3x plus 8. First step to solve this problem is to distribute. Okay, so we have 2x plus 8 equals 3x plus 8, which I made this to be where it is anything possible. Of course I did. So let's change this. Let's say that this is 10 instead. because Miss Monroe made a mistake. All right, change those to 10s. All right, and so now I can actually solve this. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So x, okay, so 8 equals x plus 10. And of course now I made a negative. Gosh darn. But it's okay. We can have a negative as long as when we plug it in, we get a positive distance. So let's make sure that we get that. Okay, so if I subtract 10, x is going to, negative 2 is going to equal x. All right, so negative 2 equals x. So when we plug this back in to find this mid-segment right here, we would do negative 2 plus 4, which is 2. It's a positive number, which is good. That's what we needed, right? Because we cannot have a negative distance. If I plug it into this one, all right, this is negative 6 plus 10 is going to be 4. And it is 2 times, okay, this length is half of this length. If this is 2 and this side is 4, then that is 2 is half of 4, right? So that's good. So this is about mid-segments here. Let's look at our assignment so that way we can have some explanation over on the assignment in case you get confused. I'm going to give you another second to just make sure you finish writing this down, okay? All right, so now, if we look at our assignment, okay, we've got some pictures, all right? Each one of the things on here is going to be a mid-segment, all right? So let's look at this first question, all right? If in each triangle, M, N, and P are midpoints of the sides, name a segment parallel to the one given. So here it says CD, so that's going to be that segment right there. All right. So if we remember, mid-segments are parallel to the side that they don't intersect. So that means that CD and PN are going to be parallel. So PN would be our answer. Remember that this symbol, in case you don't know, means parallel. It is mathematical shorthand. So remember that, because I like to think of it as in parallel. There's two L's right next to each other, and that kind of helps me out with that because I'm bad at remembering certain things. Actually, I'm bad at spelling, but that helps me remember between the two, all right, when I was learning this. So now, let's look at question number 3. All right, so on question 3, okay, it says find the length of CD. Well, CD is a mid-segment, and mid-segments are half of the length of the sides that they don't intersect. So it does not intersect over here at ZX, right? So we're just going to take 16 and divide it by 2, because that's 1/2 of 16, right? So 8. So CD, the length of CD is 8, all right? Which is nice and easy and simple, all right? That's going to be how you do some of these problems. Anytime you're given the length of a side of a triangle and you're trying to find the mid-segment, that's going to be how you do it. The other way is that if you are given the mid-segment length, like on number 4, okay, is TS, and we're going to try to find AC, all right? So we're going the opposite direction here. So we're going to multiply our 4 by 2, okay, and that's going to give us 8. So AC also happens to equal 8, all right? The length of this side right here is 8. And so we're going to write this sentence out. Remember to box your answers, okay? It'll make your life easier. It'll make my life easier. Makes your life easier because if you box your answer, you know you answered that question, all right? So that's going to be how you do this. Now, if you flip it over to the back side, I'm going to do 2 more examples with you. Alright, so if we look at number 9, okay, on number 9, we're given x's in both of these spots, right? So just like in the notes, we're going to take our mid-segment, the shorter part, the one that's inside the triangle, and multiply it by 2. So I have 2 times 2x minus 3. Okay, and then we're going to set it equal to x plus 9. So we're going to distribute this 2, right? And we're going to get 4x minus 6 equals x plus 9. And remember, when you solve an equation, you want all your x's on one side, right? So we're going to subtract x from both sides. And this is a 1x, right? In case you get confused. These are 1x's here. They're going to subtract to 0. So I'm not going to write that down. I'm just going to write the positive 9, because now that there's nothing that it's adding to, it's just positive. Okay? And then this part is going to become 3x minus 6. Now, when we solve, remember, we got to get rid of this 6. We got to get x by itself. So we're going to get rid of the subtraction first, right? And we're going to bring down our 3x. And then 15. So 3x, 9 plus 6 is 15. So when we divide by 3, x is going to equal 5. And that's all you have to do for 9, 10, 11, and 12. But if you look at 12, we're given three different lengths. All right? Remember, sorry, got something in my throat this morning. Okay? That the mid-segment is half the length of the side that it is parallel to, meaning the side that it's not touching. Okay, so you can still do this, but you don't need this extra x plus 6. All right, you don't need it at all. All right, so that's how you're going to do 9 through 12, or 10 through 12, since I did 9 with you. And now let's look at question number 13. All right. I have to make sure you see that. Yeah. All right. And so to do this problem, again, we're going to set it up the same way, but it says to find the length of LN. So we're going to take our x value once we find it and plug it in for LN. Okay, so we're adding a step here. So I'm going to take my mid-segment, I'm going to multiply by 2, and then I'm going to set it equal. So, distribute, so 2x plus 4 equals x plus 10. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So 2x minus 1x is 1x. Bring down my plus 4. It equals, this becomes 0x, which goes away, and then equals positive 10. All right, subtract the 4. And x equals 6. Okay, so we're not done because we want to find Ln. We're going to take that and plug it in. So Ln is going to equal 6 plus 10, which is 16. All right? And that's what we're going to do. That's how you're going to solve these. Again, if you look at number 16, it has a little bit of extra information. It wants you to find VW. Okay, so ignore this extra information. You can cross it out if you like. It's the negative 2x minus 6. Okay, multiply this one by 2, set it equal to that one. All right, and then find your x and then plug it in for VW. You can have negative x's as long as you don't have negative lengths. All right, I'm saying that because on some of these you may have a negative x. All right, so this is my short notes on mid-segments. I hope that this video finds you well, and I hope that you have a great day and that you learned something in geometry today.